My name's Jess Stuart and I am an author and coach. I started my life out in the corporate world and my career was in human resources. I spent 15 years climbing the ladder, chasing down success and doing all of the things that I thought would make me happy. I was on this pursuit for happiness. So I got the job, the money, the car, the house by the beach. I settled down with my partner. I did all the things that I felt that I should to be happy. Yet at a time when my life looked like it had everything from the outside, there was this hole in my soul and this emptiness and this lack of meaning and purpose to my life that I couldn't quite put my finger on. Whilst I had everything materially, I felt unfulfilled, and whilst I was successful from the outside, inside I didn't feel the happiness and the contentment that I thought having all these things would bring with it. And so I became very busy with my job, with my life, to try and avoid all the feelings that kept coming up. And eventually I burnt out. And this gave me the time to consider, well, where had it all gone wrong? And what was next? How did I put it right? So I set about wiping the slate clean, and I set about rebuilding a life around my passions. I quit my corporate job. I left my relationship of 7 years. I walked away from my house, my car, my possessions, all of the life that I'd built myself, and decided that if plan A hadn't worked for me, what could plan B look like? What's the secret to happiness? How do we have success, but also that contentment and happiness that should come with it? So I took a year out and I decided that I needed to spend time following my passions, spend time on myself and figure out who was I, what is it that I wanted, and really rebuild my life from scratch. So during this time I travelled. I wanted to learn how other people did it, learn from experts, visit other cultures, other countries, and see how they lived and try and uncover the secret to what makes us successful and happy. I spent time on retreats, meditating. I trained to be a yoga teacher and spent time in ashrams. I spent time living very simply. I simplified my life. I visited Thailand and taught English to Buddhist monks and was privileged to learn far more from them than they probably did from me. And I went to Bhutan, the kingdom that is famous for gross national happiness in place of gross domestic product, to find out about a wealth beyond money. And whilst I did this, I wrote, I blogged, I loved to write, and I loved what I was learning, and I wanted to share it with people. And that's how my first book came about. And during these personal experiences, this life transformation and this period of self-discovery, I started to tap into who it was that I was, what it was that I wanted. And I began to rediscover what matters and build a life around my passions, realign to my authenticity, and really figure out what is it that makes us successful and how do we find happiness. And during this time I faced an awful lot of fears of what people would think of me, leaving a corporate job to go and clean toilets in an ashram. And to be fair, most of them thought I was having some sort of midlife crisis or nervous breakdown. But I was also scared of failure, of the unknown. Where was I going? I didn't even know what I wanted to do with my life, and how did I know I was making the wrong choice? What if I ended up homeless, jobless, penniless, and on my own? During this time I meditated quite a lot, and for people that know me, mindfulness is a big passion of mine, and it's something that I found not only creates the clarity and space in my head for clear thinking, but it also opened up so much more awareness for me, awareness of what was going on around me, but also what's going on within me. And this was key to me helping understand who it is that I am and what it is that I want and how I can align to that. It helped me uncover the true me. And in the process of uncovering the true me, not only did I discover what my passions were and how to live a life built around my dreams, but I also understood more things like my values, what makes me tick, what I get out of bed for in the morning. And I also understood far more about who I was, and it led to me coming out. I learned that happiness is not in the external, but in the internal, and that it's not something we find, it's not a journey we go on, but it's something we create from within. I'd spent all those years pursuing happiness that I thought would be in things when it was there all along. And so my first book was about the recipe for happiness. And since then I've continued to learn, continued to evolve. And the irony is I've come full circle. So now I sit somewhere between my new life and my old life. So I've noticed a lot more, particularly with my coaching, my personal development work. I do a lot of work now leadership development wise, particularly with women. And I've noticed that it's come full circle. So whilst my corporate career wasn't something that fueled my soul, without a doubt it's something that's led me to where I am now, and something that so often I still use. So now I teach mindfulness, I teach resilience, I do presentations, speaking gigs. I work particularly with women, leadership development wise, training development wise. How do we uncover our brilliance? How do we unlock our potential? How do we be the best that we can be, particularly in the face of the challenges that we have? It's a lot easier said than done, and so often there's lots of hurdles we have to overcome along the way. So I provide the help and support to enable us to do that, to still reach our best. But first we've got to define what that is, and that's what I love doing. I love working with people to define what are your goals, what are your dreams, what aligns with your authenticity and your values. And how do we do this? How do we be successful in a world that places so many demands upon us? How do we find balance so that we can chase down our goals, achieve our dreams, but stay sane and calm in the process? So now I write for some of the top wellness blogs online, and I write my books. I coach, I go into businesses and do work with groups. I go into businesses and work with groups and do presentations. I also have an array of online courses, and I do events in person. I draw on my own personal experience and my own life transformation, but also my years in the corporate world. Not just working my way up and being a leader myself, but also having the privilege of being in human resources and being able to work with so many other different leaders across many different organisations in many different countries and cultures. And I find that this experience pulled together gives me a unique point of view that I can use to help others. To find out more, head to my website, www.inspireyourlife.org. There you'll find out about my books, and you'll be able to grab a copy if you're interested. And there's also links to my social media pages from there, and you can subscribe to the mailing list. There's a link on there as well to my YouTube channel, where there's over 40 videos for free that you can download that looks into some of this stuff in a bit more detail. You'll also find details of my coaching packages, and there's a contact form there, so if you want to get in touch, if you're interested in working with me, shoot me a message on the contact form. There's also a page on there for press inquiries and some feedback from prior satisfied customers.